Pony Baseball was founded in Washington, Pennsylvania in 1951, originally for 13 and 14-year-old boys. Pony is an acronym for Protect Our Nation's Youth. The original goals for Pony Baseball in the early 1950s was to create an opportunity for young boys to get off the streets and onto the playing fields, how to win and lose gracefully, and how to respect authority in the form of a coach. And those characteristics are still the core of Pony Baseball and softball almost 60 years later.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack.
Good, hey!
Yeah, the concept of the Friendship Series has worked. We've been involved for 4 years, 4 or 5 years now.
So it was really a wonderful opportunity so that I can look back 10, 20 years from now and say, I did that with my son to go to Japan.
I feel as if it's an honor. We've obviously been selected because Coach Evans and other coaches have confidence in us as a baseball player. But I think the biggest thing is that knowing that they had confidence in us as ambassadors of the U.S. over in Japan, and that really speaks about more of yourself as a person, not only as a baseball player.
I think we're all becoming better players just because you're seeing different sides of the game and how it can be played. And down the road in our baseball careers, we might be a step ahead of someone that hasn't seen this side of the game, and we can use that to our advantage.
The elements to make this team are really pretty basic. You have to be a good citizen. You have to represent your organization. You have to represent your state. You have to represent your country. You don't get extra points for being a really good citizen, but that's an absolute threshold requirement. Secondly, you have to be nominated by your coach to be considered. And thirdly, where their enthusiasm was going to carry them in terms of how they fit in with the rest of the team. When we add all those things together, we had a true team.
Being selected to play on this team to me was an honor because not many players in the country or in the world get to travel halfway across the world to go play baseball and just exchange cultures with people that are completely different.
Let's say
The very first of the river.
the very first of the river.
Yes. And the next song is Higurashi.
The next song is Higurashi.
The voice of the cicada.
That is the voice of the cicada.
Well, I was extremely proud to have my son play on Team United States.
The moment that I realized the enormity of where we were and what was going on was when we were at our first baseball game. The first time the boys were announced and were lining up on the field, I was taken back and teared up and realized that we are in Japan, we are playing baseball in Japan, and when the American flag was raised, I cried, and I will never forget that.
During the opening ceremonies at the games, when they played both the Star Spangled Banner and the Japanese national anthem, it was a moment of awesome, incredible pride in the boys that were there.
I would say reality set in that he was actually playing in Japan the first time they played the Star Spangled Banner when we were at the opening ceremony. That I knew I was going to cry when I heard that going on, but that is when it actually, and I could do it right now. I could cry right now just thinking of the experience that he had, but that's when reality did set in, when I heard that.
It happened when we heard the Star Spangled Banner and when we saw the flag being raised in the outfield, and seeing the raising of the flag and seeing the raising of the Japanese flag during their anthem was a moment of pride in all of us, and I think we all shed a tear at that moment. John told us before we started on the trip, at that moment you're going to realize how neat of an experience it really is, and that's that moment. That was that moment for me.
You
USA on 3, 1, 2, 3, USA!
My responsibilities on the trip were primarily to help with the lineups before each game. I also was was the scorekeeper, so worked with John, making sure the players came in and out of the game properly and all got an opportunity to participate.
The strike zone was a little difficult to locate at first, but after a while I got my location down and started hitting targets, and it got easier.
Their strike zone's more precise. Like over here, we kind of give maybe like a little leeway on the corners, but they're very precise over there.
Well, if the strike zone gets a little smaller, I mean, you just pitch. I mean, you just adjust to it. There's not much I can. You just do it. You don't really think about it.
Click, click, boom! I'm coming down on the stereo. Hit me on the radio. Click, click, boom!
I think my strongest position is probably my pitching.
My most effective pitch probably be my curveball. No, I can locate my curveball anywhere in the strike zone because I have such confidence in it because I've been throwing it since my pitching career started.
I guess it'd be the curveball because it fools a lot of batters.
I'd say my changeup because I can pretty much put it wherever I want it to.
Well, we called a lot of curveballs because most of our players are stronger and have better breaking balls than their people.
I like mixing things up with curveball, and I throw a splitter, which is pretty rare. Yeah, the splitter, it really never does the same thing twice, so it looks like a fastball coming out of my hand just because of the arm motion, and then it's real slow and it can go any direction.
Click, click, boom!
I think the parents fully understand that as 14, 15-year-old boys, this is an experience of a lifetime for these kids.
The selection process of the team began really shortly after the coaching staff was assembled. I received the appointment as manager and chairman of Team United States in the fall of 2009. And this year, the organization was a bigger challenge simply because of the numbers. We had lots of candidates from Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio.
The trip for me was the second time over in Japan. The first year I was honored to be asked by by John to help him out and get some of my ball players from the Butler area to come down with the kids from North Allegheny and Washington, PA to go over.
My responsibilities on this trip was as business manager. So I held all of the passports, I had the money for all of the different events and hotels that we went to and stayed at. Plus I carried all of the boys' spending money.
Let's see, well, I was responsible for keeping the parents in line, which, meant making sure they were counted, which was tough. A couple times, we lost a couple parents, but I think the most concerning one was Shay's grandmother.
Well, my responsibilities, there weren't a lot of them, but since I was the only grandma that went, I served as Grammy to all the boys.
My responsibilities on this trip were to coordinate with the coaches, mainly Coach John Evans and Abe Key, to make sure that the gifts were covered. So during gifts exchange or when we were meeting people.
My responsibilities are going to be just to watch my son play baseball. I'm going to be having a good time. I'm going to be there with my wife, and I don't think there's a lot of us that are actually going as couples, so I'm really excited about that.
My responsibilities on the trip were to make sure everybody had fun.
I also took pictures.